Good morning. Did you listen to my ramble yesterday? If you watched it to the end, you might have got a little treat with the beach in Egypt. And today I'll send another one. I'll add another one right at the end, and you can see basically how windy it was in Egypt. And there were people around selling, trips on submarines and snorkeling. I'm thinking, I'm not getting out on that. You can see there's like 50-foot waves. Well, not 50 foot, but big waves are coming. I'm like, no, that's not what you go out in the water. A few days later, it did calm down, and I saw a few people snorkeling. They had full face masks with the snorkel, which seems to be the trend these days. Anyway, so I said once more unto the breach, as I've said the title of this. I said that to my wife this morning, and I thought, because my office here is actually in the dungeon. It's downstairs in my man cave, so it's I thought, once more unto the breach, I said to her as I went down with my coffee and my water. There you go, have a great day. Did you see that? That's the first time that's worked. Normally I do it left-handed, which I'm normally left-handed. That doesn't work. So yeah, once more onto the breach. Now, so I had to obviously look on Wiki. I thought, where does that come from? Because I better tell people a little bit what it comes from. And it is King Henry V. Yeah, and he said that to his soldiers who were launching an attack through a gap or breach in the walls of Harfleur. There you go. You never thought you'd get some history on this little video. And so, a couple of things in my mind as well. CTFU, I'll need to tell you about CTFU, what that means. And I've got a little card, getting professional now, aren't I? Sort of, yes, these are like TV presenters having cards. And I used to, some of you will know, I've done theatre, film, TV. When I was on TV, it was Sky and live Sky News, and they picked me up. I had to read 3 stories. It was called News with a Web Agenda. So it was a bit like reading the newspapers and telling some stories on the newspapers. So these were stories of news with a web agenda, and I get picked up in a car at 3 o'clock, taken over to Sky Studios, and on the way there, I had to read those stories and then talk about them live in front of 7 million people, or however many it was. And that was quite quite scary, but good scary. Exciting scary. You get adrenaline and you do worry about it, but then the adrenaline kicks in and you deliver something. Whether it's what you wanted or whether it's what was anticipated is who knows. Live TV is the scariest thing ever. But it made me think. Actually, in many ways, I'm actually quite introverted. That sounds like, I must be extroverted if I can go in front of 7 million people. But in a weird way, don't put me in front of a room, of strangers and say, go and speak to all of them. I'm like, yeah, really? What about? And I go and crawl in the corner. So there is levels of, I think deep down I'm quite shy and introverted, but I do build up the courage, and I do know how to go. I've probably learned over the years of how to just throw myself out there into the deep end, and being live on TV is definitely throwing yourself into the deep end. Now, I'm telling you this because there's a couple of so on the plays as well. I was supposed to go to rehearsals last night. I've got a play coming up in May, but the guy's not been able to find a policeman. And so it was called off. He's going to have to rewrite the play because he couldn't find a policeman. So I don't know whether the play is going to happen now, but we'll soon see. So I knew the guy from a previous play I did where it was Dad's Army, which is quite a weird given the times we're in at the moment. And I was playing Private Fraser, of course. I was the token Scotsman, and I was the guy who said, "We're doomed." So yeah, that was a great play. And this one, I'm an English vicar, and I have to put on a very polite voice and say in my best English accent, some very give a sermon, and then I've got to also do a Scottish TV presenter from the 60s and 70s. You might know Fife Robertson, and he's got a very it's got a weird accent. He talks in. He said, "Hello, I'm here this morning talking from Edinburgh," and he's got half Edinburgh, half Glaswegian accent, and a bit chuchterish, as I would call it. So it's good. I'm getting into that character as well. But the one that I'm trying to recall was when I was in the Fringe play in Edinburgh, and it's kind of got a message to what CTFU, and I remember that in this Fringe play, it was called Passengers, and everybody loved it. It was a comedy, and I felt brilliant. It's brilliant when you're doing comedy and people just laugh and cheer, and just it's a great experience, and everybody loved it, right? The review the next day, in the Fringe papers was. It's about 4 people at a bus stop, and the audience killed themselves laughing. I thought, great. And then the footnote was, "We think they should get out more." What? I mean, you make people laugh, and they're delighted with it. They went home happy, and then this bloody critic says, "Oh dear." So, it taught me a lesson that you can't please all the people all the time, and you are going to divide people no matter what you do. No matter you give your best performance, you're always going to get something back that's not very good, and that was yesterday for me, and so coming back from holiday, you notice that the people who were miserable before you went on holiday and giving you a hard time actually are still the same. You've come back all nice and refreshed and energized, and they haven't. They've not moved on, and they've still got that miserable attitude about them. Now, Diane Lowther from Brilliant Minds put a comment on LinkedIn recently. I've known her over many years doing NLP. She's an NLP coach, and I did NLP practitioner in timeline therapy, master practitioner with her, which I highly recommend. Go and get your brain frazzled a little bit with Diane, and then come out and say, "Oh right, is that what the world's about, really?" And it was actually going through her sessions where I started to become more right brain oriented, and creative, and doing acting and theatre and singing and whatever. So I really owe a lot of gratitude to her for just a new experience in life. Anyway, she put something, I posted the other day there, where leadership was about making people feel more human, and absolutely, it's a great, and a lot of people agreed, and as I did. And then I realised, but there's always somebody else who's going to bring you back down to earth. Spit in your eye and kick some sand in your face just as they're leaving. So you're going to get them, and I find it hard to deal with them because they draw your energy down. Just when you think, this particular meeting yesterday morning was, I was prepared for it as usual, in depth. I knew what I was going to say. I was off the. I didn't have notes or anything like that. I just knew what I was going to say, and 15 minutes talk to senior managers, and I did great. I know I did great. Somebody afterwards, a peer, not in my own team, but a peer told me afterwards that that was you were on fire there. That was really good. But interestingly, I'm trying to get more engagement between project managers and their counterparts who are providing some of the resources. So I'm trying to get them more collaborative, rather than just sort of saying, "Oh, we told you all about that." I'm actually trying to merge it so that there's a bit more meaning to what the request is. And this particular female project manager, very, very good at what she's doing, and actually detailed a lot of the resources that will require for this migration of this particular tool. So great, okay, go and speak to them and them. But this particular department, if you like, said, "I'll just send her an email." Is that it? yeah, I'm trying to get engagement here with people, talk to people and digging down further and on. Oh, right, okay, that's good, yeah. Send an email. So you can't please all the people all the time. But, you know, my CTFU, have you guessed what it means yet? Cheer them up. I mean, right this morning, I sometimes look at TikTok, and I haven't been on it for about 2 weeks, and I thought, I don't even want to go on TikTok, it's just rubbish anyway. And then I went on this morning, and one came up, and I thought, okay, this is why I go on TikTok, to see little gems like this. It was basically Ukrainian soldiers who are the musicians in the band for the Ukrainian army, and they've said to Ed Sheeran that they'll play at his concert in Birmingham, which I think is next week, for Ed Sheeran's doing it for nothing, and they said they'll come on live from Kiev, and do their little bit. I thought, amazing, and their faces were cheery, they were happy, they were bright, and I thought, wow, you know, here's we've got people going to work and, you know, paid well in beautiful environments, either in the office or working in their home, and they're still miserable. And they've got these people, they're out in war, and they'll play music for us. Yeah, people, CTFU, please, and tell other people, CTFU. So yeah, and on that note, music does brighten your life, and I always realise that, I forget it every now and then, and that's why I set up a radio show called lomanradio.com. And it's, you know, even if you don't listen to it, I personally, you know, I'm ambivalent, you know. It might divide everybody, so no, that's a lot of rubbish, but in essence, I have a little bit of banter, and I talk about a song and what the memories it means to me. Yesterday I played Sign of the Times by Prince, which is a really powerful song. In France, a skinny man died of a big disease with a little name. Wow. Just those lyrics, it's just incredible, that song. And it does, you know, make you think more about songs, and I do try and play some of the more poignant songs to take us out of our miserable environments that we're sometimes in, and cheer us all up. So I play 70s, 80s and 90s, as well as a little bit about theatre, film, a little bit about yachts, because, you know, as I've said before, I'm a big fan of yachts, and a little bit about computers, obviously, because that's been my life for 40 years in technology. So yesterday was a Kraftwerk calculator. I'm the operator of my pocket calculator. Brilliant. Anyway, you have a laugh with us, so come and join. It's Spotify, so you go lomanradio.com and then join Spotify, and you'll hear all the music and my worthless banter. Hope to see you there, and remember to wait for this next wavy bit of sea. Enjoy.